Well, hello everybody and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G. John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday, only here on Top Shelf Oldies. I want to welcome you to the February 10th, 2018 Vinyl Treasure Show. Glad you can join Johnny G. What a terrible, terrible day here in the tri-state area. Pouring rain. Thank goodness it's not cold enough to snow, or we would really be buried. But pouring rain today, I think even for tomorrow. But sit back for the next 2 hours. Got some cool 45s out of my collection. We opened up tonight's Vinyl Treasure Show with a cut off of an Ember EP. Now, I know many of you know what EP stands for. That means extended play at 45 RPM, revolutions per minute. Now, this EP took four cuts off an issued album LP. I think maybe Al Silver, owner of Ember Records, figured the EP would be cheaper for the teenagers to purchase versus the more expensive LP. I think normally LPs are more expensive, but you know the sax player, he's from Pittsburgh, Kansas, can be heard on countless R&B and rock and roll jump blues and ballads releases. His biggest hit was a song you may know, a tune called Walkin' with Mr. Lee, and it is one of the songs on this EP, but I featured a song he wrote that is not available on a 45. It's only available on this EP or the LP. His name is Lee Allen. Lee Allen and Band, that one there from 1958. The Big Horn Special. The name of the tune, it's on Ember Records. Unfortunately, we lost Lee Allen October 18th, 1994. He was only 67 years old, passed away from cancer, but we remember him here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Well, let's start it off here with the vocal portion. We open up here out of Los Angeles, California. This group had 3 releases on the RV label. Here's their second, co-written by the lead singer. His name is Beeman Young. We go back to April 1959, RV Records. Give a listen to the Tramps with their tune called Ride On.
We're gonna ride on, baby, gonna ride on, baby, gonna ride on, baby, all night long. We're gonna ooh shoo, we gonna ooh shoo, we gonna ooh shoo, all night long. Well, I met a girl the other day, we're riding down the way. I opened the door and I asked her in the street, oh, pretty baby, won't you ride with me? We gonna ride on, baby, gonna ride on, baby, gonna ride on, baby, all night long. Well, I took that girl down to my house, I wanted her to meet my mom. I told her that I love her so sweet, oh, pretty baby, won't you marry me? We gonna ride on, baby, gonna ride on, baby, gonna ride on, baby, all night long. Let's go. Do a good deed most every day. We gonna ride on, baby, gonna ride on, baby, gonna ride on, baby, all night long. That girl down to my house, wanted her to meet my mom. I told her that I love her so sweet. Oh, pretty baby, won't you marry me? We gonna ride on, baby, gonna ride on, baby, gonna ride on, baby, all night long. We're gonna ride all night long.
We open up the vocal portion there from April 1959, the second of 3 For a group called the Tramps, it's on the RV record label Ride On's the name of the tune. Beeman Young, he's on lead. Now the producing and writing team of Fred Smith and Cliff Goldsmith, renowned for their success, of course, with the Olympics, with all their hits on the RV label. They discovered this group. Now the lead, Beeman Young, he had a solo release on the RV label. I have it. I'm trying to remember if there's a group backing him up on that. I'll have to pull that one out for a future Vinyl Treasure show. John G here for a Saturday evening. It's all 1950s and early 60s 45s out of my collection. Got lots and lots of flip sides, really, from the last two Vinyl Treasure show. I did that all moon theme special show last week and from the week before, so got some cool tunes and B-sides and flip sides. So let's start it off here. The first by this Los Angeles group. They're called the Jewels. I played their song called Rickety Rock, featured Johnny Torrance on lead. Now the flip features Rudy Jackson. He's doing lead. He also wrote the tune. This is their third of four on Imperial Records from January 1956. Give a listen to the Jewels on Imperial. Their tune's called How.
You kissed my lips so tender, then you stole my honey. Now you're gone and broke my heart. Tell me, do you think it's funny? Tell me how could you be so mean? How could you be so mean? Oh, how could you be so mean? After I gave all my love, shattered all my dreams. The reason I'm unhappy, oh, my dear, is 'cause of you. I thought you really loved me, but you proved to be untrue. So tell me how could you be so mean? How could you be so mean? Oh, tell me how could you be so mean? After I gave all my love, shattered all my dreams.
January 1956 release there. Those are the Jewels. The Jewels with Rudy Jackson on lead there. That is their third of four on Imperial. The song is called How, one word, H-O-W. John G continuing here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. We count down the music chronologically here. Let's go to 1954. Featured the debut single for this New Haven, Connecticut group called the Scarletts on the, it was maybe about a couple of weeks ago, not last week, but the week prior. And they would have four on Bobby and Danny Robinson's Red Robin record label. I played the A-side of their debut single. It was called Dear One. Let's give a listen to the flip. It's written by 17-year-old, at the time, 17-year-old lead singer Fred Paris. We go to June 1954. They're called the Scarletts. It's on Red Robin. This one plays pretty nice. Some of these early Red Robins do not play well. Lots of surface noise. This one plays good. Got a couple pops in it, but it's fine. The Scarletts with I've Lost.
I've lost all your charms. I want your arms. For you I yearn. I've lost
I'm yours alone, I love you dear. Darling, can't you see? Dear Lord above, I pray to thee. I've lost, though you're away. We'll meet someday, and we'll love again.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. They don't make records like that anymore. 17-year-olds, I don't know if they could even write like that anymore, but that's a great tune, I say. That's the flip side of Dear One by the Scarletts. Fred Paris, 17 years old, wrote that tune. Maybe he was even younger when he wrote that tune, June 1954, on the Red Robin record label. Now, of course, the Scarletts, they would later record on the Al Silver's Ember label as the Five Satins, of course, go on the Five Satins to other labels throughout the years. Fred Paris still continuing to sing. I don't know if he retired yet. I don't think so. But has some great tunes. Yes, he does. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's go to a flip side here. Received some good response on my Moon theme special last week, the show I did last week. So I have lots of flips from that show. And here's my first by this Philadelphia, PA group. Featured the group's second release on Ivan Ballin's Gotham label. The song was called It Was Moonglow. It featured 14-year-old Renee Hinton on lead. Now, on the B-side, it features a male lead. His name is Reuben Wright, and he also wrote this tune. Let's go to October 1954. These are the Capris. It's on the Gotham label. The song is called Too Poor to Love.
I give my life, I give my life, I give my love, I give my yes, yes, I even give the stars above. But diamonds and foils I couldn't afford, so I was too poor, oh, too poor to love. My heart and soul was hers to take. Yes, my life I give for her sake. These foolish things to all think of. So I was too poor, oh, too poor to love. Maybe if faith had given me wealth and instead of a heart so kind, I could live in the best of health with love. Well, my heart and soul was hers to take. Yes, my life I give it for her sake. These foolish things you all think of. So I was too poor, oh, too poor to love. so kind. I would live in the best of love with love so easy to find. Heart and soul, yes, was hers to take. My life I give yes for her sake. These foolish things she won't think of. So I was too poor, oh too poor to love. So I was too poor, oh too poor to love.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. There's a cool boogie woogie piano in there if you like that boogie woogie kind of pounding on the piano. But those are the Capris from October 1954. It's on the Gotham label out of Philadelphia, PA. Too Poor to Love is the name of the tune, and it features Reuben Wright on lead. Now, when the Capris broke up, it was 1958 when the group broke up. Now, Reuben Wright, he would have some solo releases in 1958 on the Win label, also on Lancer, and then he signed with Capitol Records in 1963. Some cool soul records he did on Capitol 5 releases. I featured actually on my 60s show not too long ago. I played his second one. It was called I'm Walking Out on You, and I think the flip was Hey Girl. Great two-sided soul record by Reuben Wright. But there he was with the Capris. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on all these cool 45s out of my collection. I posted this one up on my Facebook wall because I always thought that the originals were on the shiny Parrot label, but I got a nice maroon, dark maroon, flat maroon label variation, which I think is prior to those shiny releases. But you all know this group out of Chicago. I feature them often here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. So many great recordings during their career. It's their third release on Al Benson's Parrot label, and I think the true first presses are this dark maroon Parrot label, and it features Nate Nelson on lead. We go back to January 1955. These are the Flamingos on Parrot with their tune called I'm Yours.
Someday I'll hear you say, I'm yours. Darling, I'm yours. I'm yours. Every kiss says I'm yours. Can't you see it in my eyes? Can't you hear it in my song? I'm yours. Oh, my life and my love, dear, are yours to command. I stand here before you, my heart in my hand. I'm yours. All the world knows I'm yours, and I only hope and pray that someday I'll hear you say, I'm
That's Nate Nelson. Nate Nelson and the Flamingos. January 1955 release. Their great tune, a song entitled I'm Yours. John G is yours every Saturday from 10 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies. Let's continue here. And on last week's show, I featured a song called Mr. Moon on that Moon Special, theme show, and as done by a group called the Five Pennies. They were out of Knoxville, Tennessee. They're second of three releases that came out on Herman Lubinsky's Savoy label. Now, here's the flip side of that tune, written by Paul Winley. This side features Benjamin Washington on lead. Let's go to December of 1955. These are the Five Pennies on Savoy. This tune, very appropriate for those of you here on the East Coast. The name of the at least today, the name of the tune is called Let It Rain.
I was lonely, I was blue, baby, until I found you. I was lonely, I was blue, baby, until I found you. When you held me in your arms, my heart was thrilled by your charms. And when you kissed me, all my sadness went away. Now when the rain falls from the sky, there's no teardrop in my eyes. Now when the rain falls from the sky, there's no teardrop in my eyes. Now when the rain falls from the sky, there's no teardrop in my eyes. So let it rain, let it rain, let it rain, let it rain, let it rain. I wanna yell, I wanna scream, I really hope this ain't no dream. I wanna yell, I wanna scream, I really hope this ain't no dream. I wanna yell, I wanna scream, I really hope this ain't no dream. 'Cause if it is, it's really real to me. I was lonely, I was blue, baby, until I found you. I was lonely, I was blue, baby, until I found you. When you held me in your arms, my heart was thrilled by your charm. And when you kissed me, all my sadness went away.
Yeah, those are the Five Pennies. The Five Pennies from December, 1955 there. That's the B-side of the 45. That is on Herman Lubinsky's Savoy record label. That is their second of three on Savoy. Let It Rain is the name of the tune. Now, this group would later record as the Chimes on the Arrow label. They also backed up Freddie Scott with his release on that label. They were also the Four Jokers on Sue, and later on, the Four Pennies on Brunswick. They do a nice Christmas record from 1966 with that doo-wop sound. John G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here, and we are in the year 1955. Got a Dominoes 45 up next as they recorded on Sid Nathan's Federal and King labels. Now, they were first listed just as the Dominoes through their sixth release, but when their tune Have Mercy, Mercy Baby came out in April 1952, right after that release, they were known as Billy Ward and his Dominoes. Now, here is their 16th release on the Federal label, and I have a bio promo which would give the DJs, a bit of information about the group. Now, this one says on the label, everywhere Billy Ward and his Dominoes appear, the house is certain to be packed. The boys are wonderful performers in person, and certainly much of that personal feeling is projected in their recording. Most of the material recorded is by the group is written by Billy Ward in collaboration with their manager, Rose Marks, who was also Ward's personal manager. And they both wrote this tune, which features Prentice Moreland on lead. Let's go to February 1955 for Billy Ward and his Dominoes, Federal Records. It's off the Bio promo. The tune is called If I Never Get to Heaven.
If I never get to heaven, well, I sure have been in the paradise. Oh, my Lord, if I never get to heaven, well, I sure have been in the paradise. When I kissed you in the moonlight and I gazed into your dreamy eyes, I can hear the angels singing when you press your tender lips to mine. Oh, my Lord, I can hear the angels singing when you press your tender lips to mine. If I never get to heaven, well, you've made my lonely Lord divine. Oh, hold me, thrill me, never, never let me go. Oh, squeeze me and please me, don't you know? I need you so. Let the devil have tomorrow just as long as I have you tonight. Oh, my Lord, let the devil have tomorrow just as long as I have you tonight. If I never get to heaven, baby, everything will be alright. Oh, let the devil have tomorrow just as long as I have you tonight. Lord, 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 let the devil have tomorrow just as long as I have you tonight. If I never get to heaven, baby, everything will be alright.
Yeah, Warren, you like that tune there. So does Johnny G. Those are Billy Ward and the Dominoes, February 1955 release. It's on the federal label of Prentice Moreland. He's doing lead on that one. It's called If I Never Get to Heaven. Sid Nathan's Federal Records for that one. John G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. And on my Moon theme show last week, I featured this 45 on Murray Katz's Treat label. The group is out of Brooklyn, New York. They were called the Five Stars. I played We Danced in the Moonlight. So let's flip the 45 over for a cover tune published originally in 1933, first recorded by Eddie Duchin back then. But here are the Five Stars with Cleo Perry on lead. It's a very rare 45 if you have it on original. It's from June 55. The Five Stars on Treat, their rendition of the tune Let's Fall in Love.
Bring us both.
up on that hill. Well, let's feel the hum up on the hill. All alone, I'll be happy if you let me be your love. Falling, falling, falling for
you. Yeah, it's a great rockin' tune there. For sure, those are the 5 stars. The 5 stars from June 1955. It's on the Treat record label. Lots of rare 45s on the Treat label. Let's Fall in Love is the name of the tune now. The features Cleo Perry on lead there. And with their first release on the Treat label, they were called the Inspirators. And they kept that name also for their final release on Old Town. They do a great record called Starlight Tonight, 1958. That's going to be coming up soon. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasures Show, here's another 45 of a flip side that I played on my Moon special last week. The group was called the Jaguars. They're out of Los Angeles, California. I featured the B-side. It was called Moonlight and You, but couldn't file this one back unless I featured the A-side, which is a classic, of course, and it's on Bob Ross's Ardell record label. Mine is on red vinyl. Looks really nice on the red vinyl label. It features Herman Sonny Chaney on lead. We go to October of 1956. I'm sure many of you out there are familiar with this Jaguars tune on Ardell Records. Give a listen to their classic. It's called The Way You Look Tonight.
Someday, when I'm awfully low, when the world is cold, I will feel a glow just thinking of you and the way you look tonight. Oh, you're lovely, with your smile so warm and your cheeks so soft. There is nothing for me but to love you just the way you look tonight. With each word your tenderness grows, tearing my fears apart. And that laugh that wrinkles your nose touches my foolish heart. You're lovely and never, never change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange it? 'Cause I love you just the way you look tonight. Just the way you look tonight.
October 1956 there for the Jaguars. The Jaguars with Sonny Chaney on lead. It's on the Ardell record label. Featured it on red vinyl. Looks pretty cool there on red vinyl. The tune is called The Way You Look Tonight. The first time I heard that was when my aunt purchased, I don't know what volume it was, but it was Art LeBeau's Oldie But Goodies volume whatever, maybe 1. I think volume 1. She bought it back, I don't know when, 1965 or so. I think originally that volume came out in maybe 1959 or 60, but that's the first time I ever heard it, when she played it on the album, and then I eventually got the original. Now there's a reissue of this song on the Baronet label that came out in 1961, but they added these violins and it totally ruined the record. It sounds terrible with the violins that they added. You got to have it on the original there. Yes, you do. John G here for a Saturday evening as we continue. We are in the year 1956. Here's another flip side from last week's Vinyl Treasure Show. I played the second overall release by this New York City group. They were known as the Eminons. Played their rendition of the standard Blue Moon last week. Now, their first release came out on George Goldner's G label. Now, when they showed up to audition for Goldner, they had not yet come up with a name for the group. So Goldner suggested they become the No Names, but spell it backwards. Thank you, George. So they were called the Eminons, and this is the intended A-side of their second release that came out on Jerry Blaine's Josie label. I played Blue Moon last week. This week, we give a listen to the flip side from July 1956, the Eminons on Josie. The tune is called Wish I Had My Baby.
Da 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 I'll never let that girl go. If I had my baby by my side, if I had my baby by my side, if I had my baby by my side, my love, I never had. If I had my baby, yes I know what I would do. Yes I need my pretty baby, I love you. I'll never let her go.
Scratches and all there in the dead wax. July 1956. Those are the Eminons. Actually, I think that's is that the A side of the 45? I think it is. 121. Yeah, Blue Moon was 122, 121. That's the A side there. Those are the Eminons. The Eminons with the A side. Wish I Had My Babies on Jerry Blaine's Josie Records. Now, you may know that tune also by the Five Satins. The Five Satins also covered that. It's a flip side of their hit, their 1957 hit called To the Isle. You'll get their rendition of that tune. Jai G here, continuing on a Saturday evening. And a few shows ago, I played the debut 45 for this group called the Falcons. They're out of Detroit, Michigan. Now, this is the same group that had a big hit called You're So Fine in 1959 on the Flick or the Unart record label. Flick is the first. Unart was the national distribution. Now, the A-side of this 45, their debut single was called Baby That's It. It, and I played that a couple of weeks ago. I think it features a young Eddie Floyd on lead. Now, the B-side features the second tenor for the group. His name is Arnett Robinson, and he's on lead. He was also the one who came up with the group name, came up with the name The Falcons, and this is with Willie Dixon and his band. They're providing the instrumentation. Let's go back to August 1956, give a listen to the Falcons on the Mercury label. The tune is called This Day.
Why must this day be just a day when I hold you in my arms, fascinated by your charms, my love? Was here to stay, for I fear you're just a dream, and you'll surely fade away this day. You know I devote my life to see that you are happy here with me. I'd gladly give the world to you if I thought that small thing would do. Oh, how could this day hold so much grief? Just as we prepare to kiss, this day fades into the mist and you leave. My heart, my life is in your hand. You merely wish, it's my command. This day.
Yeah, those are the Falcons. That's their debut single. Actually, the B-side to their debut single. The Falcons, August 1956 release. It's called, what did I say? The Day. It's called This Day. Came out on the Mercury record label. Actually comes two ways. You can either get it on the maroon label, which I think is the desirable first press, or you can get it on the black Mercury label. Of course, Johnny G is a completist, so I have it both ways. As we continue here, hope you're digging on these cool tunes. We are in the year 1956, and on my Moon special last week, I featured the first 45 to come out on Jack and William Angel's Neil label, N-E-I-L, Neil Records, and this is done by a group out of Brooklyn, New York. They were known as the Young Lads, and they sounded very young. At least their lead singer sounded almost kitty-like. I would call it a kitty lead. Now, his voice is, the singer goes by the name of Ronnie Watson. I played the intended B-side last week, a nice ballad called Moonlight, but here is the A-side written by Les Cooper. Now, Les Cooper had a big instrumental hit in 1961, called Wiggle Wobble, and he was also a member of the Empires and also of the Whirlers. But let's give a listen to this group, the Young Lads, from August 56. It's on Neil. It's the A-side. It's called I'm in Love.
I'm in love with you, baby. You're the cutest girl I know. Oh yeah. I'm in love with you, baby. You're the cutest girl I know. Oh yeah. Before I met you, baby, I never had no place to go. Oh no. I used to sit in my window watching all the pretty girls. Oh yeah. I
Kitty Leeds here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. They're called the Young Lads, and you could see why. They sound very young there, August 1956. I'm in Love, that one there on the Neil record label. Nothing like Teenage Love or Kitty Lead. What? Kitty Lead, you love. John G babbling on here. Let's continue here, and I posted this one up on my Facebook wall, and I wish I had this record in better shape. Well, what do you want for $8? I think I paid $8 for this 45, and a long, long time ago. Now, the lead singer of this next group was previously a member of the Marshall Brothers on the Savoy label, also a member of the Bells that recorded for Mama Records. Then in 1957, he formed his own group. They were known as the Embers, and this is their debut 45. Initially, this record came out on the Jupiter label, which I do have. I don't know where it is, though. It's somewhere down in the No Humidity basement. But a few weeks later, it came out on the Juno label. I think both labels were related or were the same owner. I'm pretty sure of that. They both have the same number. That is for sure. But anyway, this one's from October 1957, and I'm featuring it on the second release on Juno. It features Willis Sanders on lead. He used to spell his name Saunders, but then he's also went by the name Willis Sanders. It's from October 57. It's Willis Sanders and the Embers. It's on Juno, and the tune is called Your Souvenir.
Is all I have to hold. Your souvenir, your souvenir, your souvenir. For love that grew too old. Memories, sweet memories, come to me all day. But memories, sweet memories, only fade away. Your souvenir, your souvenir, your souvenir is all I have to hold. Your souvenir, your souvenir, your souvenir. For love we used to know, but darling, no other could give me another. Since you've been here, since you've been here, I still endure your souvenir, your souvenir, your souvenir, your
You like those authentic scratches on the 45. That's Willis Sanders and the Embers. That's their debut 45 featured on Juno Records. First came out on the Jupiter label October 1957. Your Souvenir is the name of the tune. Now, this Embers group would have other releases besides the Juno and the Jupiter release. Others came out on the Millionaire label, Unart Records, Coral Records, Regatta Records, and on last week's Moon Special, I featured a song called There's a Hole in the Middle of the Moon, as done by a group called The Ravens. and it really wasn't the Ravens. It was really that group, Willis Sanders and the Embers. So how about we flip over that moon-related song on the Top Rank label, and give a listen to the Ravens, a.k.a. the Embers, with Willis Sanders on lead. This one from October 1959, the Ravens, a.k.a. the Embers, on Top Rank, and their rendition of the tune Solitude.
Solitude, solitude, solitude.
In my solitude, you haunt me with reveries of days gone by. In my solitude, you taunt me with memories that never die. My chair, I'm full with despair. There's no one could be so sad. With the gloom everywhere, I sit and I stare. I know that I'd soon go mad in my soul.
October 1959 on the Top Rank label. It says the Ravens, but no, it's really Willis Sanders and the Embers. That's them and their rendition of the tune Solitude. John G here for a Saturday evening as we are in the year 1957. Another 45 on my Moon special. Last week was on Ed Portnoy and Stan Feldman's Ivy label. I featured a group called the Vanguards. I played the intended A-side. The song was called Moonlight, so let's flip it over. Give a listen to the B-side of the 45 with B. Butler and his orchestra. This one from November 1957, the Vanguards on Ivy, and their tune, it's called I'm Movin'.
Well, I'm moving, I'm traveling from town to town. Well, I'm moving from town to town. Whoa, so long, baby, just now put you down. Whoa, so long, baby, don't you cry for me. So long, so long, so long, baby, don't cry for me. Because I'll be on that choo-choo, yes, siree. Well, I'm scared, getting all over the land. Well,
Yeah, they're called the Vanguards. The Vanguards, it's on the Ivy label. Cool label to collect, that's for sure. The Vanguards with I'm Moving came out in November 1957. Now, you collectors out there, go check your copy of that 45. And if you see that it mentions B.B. Butler and his orchestra on the label, you have the true original from 1957. But if it doesn't mention that on the label, then you have the 1960 reissue, the second press that Times Square Records was selling at the time. John G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. We are in 1957. Let's go back to some flip sides from the Moon theme last week. I played an unreleased track by this Brooklyn, New York group. They recorded on the Joyce label. They were called the Gay Tunes. I featured an unreleased track called Plea in the Moonlight, and they recorded that with Al Brown and his orchestra. We're going to flip over that 45. I probably recorded sometime in 1957, but this 45 that I got was back in 1986 for like a couple bucks. So you don't mind spending a couple bucks for some unreleased stuff that you now can get quite extensively on some of the CDs that come out. Some of these doo-wop CDs with the special labels, some of the unreleased stuff is really pretty interesting. It is. But anyway, let's give this one a spin. We flip over Plea in the Moonlight, although this isn't a legit release, but it's still a cool tune, the B-side from 1957. The Gay Tunes on Joyce, and the song is called Pen Pal. Those are the Gay Tunes there. Gay Tunes, an unreleased song, sat in the back of Al Brown's closet for the longest time before he sold a bunch of his master tapes. Many ended up with the Vintage label. I forget who owned the Vintage label. Others ended up with Relic Records. I don't know if any went to Times Square. I don't know. But anyway, somehow somebody released that one, maybe off of the CD. I don't know. But those are the Gay Tunes recorded in 1957. It's called Pen Pal. And I featured it on the 1986 Joyce label. And maybe sometimes you can hear, when you listen to these unreleased songs, something gets messed up. They hear something that doesn't sound right. They decide not to release it, or there's, cease and desist for some reason. They steal it from someone or whatever. But anyway, I heard some kind of, it skipped a beat kind of in there. Maybe that's why they never released it. Anyway, Jaji babbling on here as we continue with this group out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Now, all the members were reportedly truck drivers, which accounts for the group's name. They were called the Drivers. How appropriate. Now, last week I featured their version of Blue Moon on the RCA label from 1957. Let's flip the 45 over, give a listen to the B-side. It was co-written by the lead singer. His name is Willie Price. Willie Price on lead. This is from August 57. These are the Drivers. It's on RCA. It's called I Get Weak.
I met a fine little girl from my hometown. My heart starts shaking when she's around. I can't control my eyes in my head, like a jaybird sleeping in a robin bird bed. I get weak every time we meet. I get weak. My heart skips a beat. I get weak from my head to my feet, because I really, really love my baby. Well, I get weak every time we kiss. I get weak. But when we climb like this, I get weak. But when we cheek to cheek, because I really, really love my baby. Sometimes I cry, but then again I wonder why. I'm sad and blue, because when you're with me, baby, you know what to do. I get weak when she by my side, or when she near. My blood pressure rise, I get weak. We realize that I really, really love my baby. Yes, I love you, baby. And I want you, baby. Sometimes I cry, but then again I wonder why. I'm sad that I'm blue, because when you're with me, baby, you know what to do. I get weak, yeah, when she's by my side, when she's near. My blood pressure rise, I get weak. We realize that I really, really love my baby. Love my baby. I really, really love my baby. Love my baby. Really, really love my baby.
Those are the Drivers. The Drivers driving along there on the RCA record label, August 1957 release. It's called I Get Weak. Willie Price, he's the lead singer. Now, the group began singing back in 1956 for Sid Nathan's Deluxe record label. We move on here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Here's another group out of Cincinnati, Ohio. I played the A-side of this 45, their debut single, last week. It fit my moon theme. The song was called The Cow Jumped Over the Moon, as done by the legendary Isley Brothers. And Ronald Isley, he was the lead singer, as he is also the lead singer on the flip side, as we go to Ben Smith and Bill Bass Gordon's Teenage record label. This one from February 1957, the Isley Brothers on Teenage, and their classic tune, it's called Angels Cry.
Angels
from sight, and I was alone in the night because you broke my heart. Oh, how I yearn now that you are far away. Oh, please return and turn this night into day. How deep inside, your voice tells me that you still care. And darling, the dreams we can share the way that we did then. Although the angels cry, someday they'll smile again. Someday they'll
That's the debut single for the Isley Brothers. February 1957, it's on the teenage record label out of New York City. Angels Cry is the name of the tune. It featured Ronald Isley on lead. Now, the Isley Brothers on the Billboard pop charts during their career, they would only have 3 songs to make it into the top 10 on the pop charts, though. Songs like It's Your Thing from 1969, That Who's That Lady from 1973, and in 1975, a song called Fight the Power, whereas on the R&B charts, they had 23 songs that were top 10 between 1962 and 1987. And believe it or not, 6 of those went to number 1 on the R&B charts. I can do like multiple shows on the Isley Brothers if we just took their career and played their music. But really, really a group that's been around for like 7 decades, I think. Anyway, John G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Another flip side from last week, I featured a song called Half Moon as done by Sunny Day and the Versatiles, who is really David Fatolsky and the Del Vikings. That's who they really are. So let's give a listen to the intended A-side written by the lead singer, David Fatolsky. And this one from February 1958. It's on the Checker label. We'll send this one out to Scott Tucker. It's one of his favorite tunes. And it's Sunny Day and the Versatiles and their tune called Speed-a-Lack.
Sharp as a tack, speed and light, that's a fine automobile.
sounds of 1958 here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That's Sunny Day and the Versatiles, February 1958. It's on the Checker label, Leonard Chess's Checker label. Speedalac is the name of the tune. That's the A-side. Joe Auerbach, he was the owner of Phoebe Records. He sold the masters to Leonard Chess to release it. Unfortunately, that was not a hit. Was not a hit like some of the other deals that Leonard Chess did, like with the Book of Love by the Monotones and a couple other ones too. John G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on these cool 1950s and early 60s 45s. We count down the music chronologically. We are in 1958. We stay there. We go back out to California for this group called the Sliders, and on the last week's Moon special theme show, I featured the intended A-side of this 45. It was called There's a Great Big Moon Tonight. Now, the B-side I like also. I think, Warren, you may have requested this B-side at one time on a past Vinyl Treasure show, as there is a different lead singer. Now, on this side, it features Joe Gordon. He's on lead, but they mention this on the label. It's from February 58. Give a listen to the Sliders on Chevron. The song is called Love is Like a Mountain.
Love is like a mountain reaching to the sky. I must climb that mountain till the day I die. Oh, love is like a river flowing to the sea. I must swim that river till eternity. Oh, let it snow on the mountain. Let it rain on the river too. Let the winds try to drive me back. I'll make my way to you. Oh, love is like the heavens stretching endlessly. I will reach those heavens when you're here with me.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Sliders. The Sliders, February 1958. It's on the Chevron label. I don't think I mentioned that. Chevron Records out of California there. Love is Like a Mountain. Joe Gordon, he's the lead singer on that one. Another group covered that on the Dore label in 1960. They're called the Raindrops. Don't know if I've ever featured here, but I got the record. We will get it on a future Vinyl Treasure show. Let's continue here. And on last week's special edition, that Moon special, opened up the show with the A-side of this 45 by this group out of Queens, New York. It was a hit. It was not a hit. This record was not a hit until 1961, when High Weiss, owner of Old Town Records, purchased the rights of the song. And of course, you know I'm talking about the song There's a Moon Out Tonight. Now, it originally was released in the fall of 1958 on the Planet label. So let's give a listen to the flip side, though, of the 45. It features Nick Santamaria on lead. We go back to the fall of 1958 for a B-side. These are the Capris on Planet. The B-side of There's a Moon Out Tonight. It's called Indian Girl.
Whoa,
I met a score a short time ago. I really got to love her so. I met her one day in Mass and started on the old warpath. Well, I love my little Indian. I love my little Indian girl. Well, after a while we went for a walk. She taught me how to use the tongue. Oh, I missed everything but a little old leaf. That's when she said that I was a chief. Well, I love my little Indian. I love my little Indian. 5 little 6 little Indians, 7 little 8 little 9 little Indians, 10 little Indian girls. Wow. Well, she gave me the name of a little sparrow. She told me how to use a bow and arrow. Finally got my eagle feather, and now we're happy Indians together. Well, I love my little Indian. I love my little Indian. 3 little Indians, 5 little 6 little Indians, 7 little 8 little 9 little Indians, 10 little Indian girls. Well, now we're as happy as can be, living together under the OTP. Every night we do our dance. I really found my Indian romance. Well, I love my little Indian. I love my little Indian.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Capris from 1958. It featured it on the Planet label. That is the flip side to There's a Moon Out Tonight, song entitled Indian Girl. And Nick Santamaria, he's on lead. Now, High Weiss purchased the rights of that song from Jerry Green. Jerry Green, he was owner of Lost Night Records, and he purchased a copy of this 45 on the Planet label from Slim Rose at Times Square Records, and magically somehow released it on the Lost Night label. Maybe he did secure the rights, I'm not sure, but he definitely put it out on Lost Night Records. Al Trommers was also a player in with him getting rights to this record, because he also put it out on his own label briefly, Trommers Records. And because if you'll check your Old Town release, it will say a Lost Night production. It will, so you'll see it on your label. Anyway, John G here for a Saturday evening. As we continue here, we go to New Orleans, Louisiana, to 533 Canal Street, to Lou Welsh's Sapphire label for this cool tune by a group known as the Moonbeams. Beems is how you spell the name. I had this one pulled to play on the Moon Special, but I just had too many records. So I said, well, I can't play any of the groups or labels that have Moon in the title, but I'm going to play it tonight. And I'm featuring the original on Sapphire Records, as it would get picked up by Leonard Chess on his Checker label with a shorter version. And actually, the group is spelled differently, Beams. But the Checker version is much shorter. It's 2 minutes and 35 seconds. This Sapphire release is 2 minutes and 49 seconds. That's a lot of seconds. It is, but let's give a listen to the original here. It features Simon Washington on lead from December 58, the Moonbeams on Sapphire. It's called Cryin' the Blues.
Did you leave me so blue? Don't
Those are the Moonbeams with 2 E's on the original label, Sapphire Records, and it features Simon Washington on lead. Cryin' the Blues came out in December of 1958. I think in January of 1959, picked up by Checker Records. That is 14 seconds longer. That's a long time, folks. 14 seconds longer on the original. So you want the original. You do. Jai G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here now. In last week's Moon special show, I featured a group called the Tremaines. They're out of New York City, and their song called Moon Shining Bright was issued 3 times. First came out on the Cash label out of New York City in December of 57. Then Cash had to change their name to the Val label in February of 1958. Then High Weiss got into the act and released it on Old Town Records in May of 58. So if you are completists like Johnny G, you own all 3. Yes, you do. But let's feature the one on the Val label, and it's the intended A-side that I'm featuring from February 58, the Tremaines on Val, and their tune called Jingle Jingle. I featured that copy on the Val label, kind of grainy press. It's Stone Mint. Stone Mint, I think they were a small quantity found sometime in the 1980s. Those are the Tremaines, February 1958. That's the intended A-side. It's called Jingle Jingle. First came out on Cash Records out of New York City, not the West Coast label. And then you can get it on the Old Town label. John G here for a Saturday evening, spinning my original vinyl 45s out of my collection. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes here. And here's a song that I should have made my Moon special theme song, theme show last week. And this group is out of Chicago, Illinois. I posted this one up on my Facebook wall. You can check it out. The members were Ernest Montgomery, David and Ronald Anderson, and the lead singer goes by the name of Willie Wright, who co-wrote the song. Let's send this one out to George Tompkins. I know he likes this tune. It's on the Mercury label. May 1958. They're called the Medallionaires. I like to say that. The Medallionaires on Mercury, and their tune called Magic Moonlight.
magic moonlight, hear my plea, keep my baby in love with me, yes sir. I can make her mine tonight. I'll be so happy. Magic moonlight, I'm so in love. Turn on your magic from up above, yes sir. I can make her mine tonight. I'll be so happy. Magic moonlight, magic moonlight, make everything alright. Magic moonlight, hear my plea, I'm so in love with her. Magic moonlight, do this for me. Turn on your magic mystery, yes sir. I can make her mine. I'll be so happy. I'll be so happy in the magic moonlight.
May 1958 release there. We send it out to George Tompkins, the Medallionaires on the Mercury record label. Magic Moonlight is the name of the tune. Willie Wright, he's the lead singer of the Medallions. He was also the lead singer of a group called the Serenades, recorded on the Chief record label, and also a member of the Von Gales, recorded on the USA label in 1960. They do a great tune, a nice cha-cha song called The Twirl, and also the flip side's nice too. It's called Loneliness. Johnny G continuing here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Played the B-side of this 45 on an earlier Vinyl Treasure Show by this group called the Five Masks. It came out on Tom Flieger's Jan label out of Dallas, Texas. Now the side I played was called Polly Molly. Let's flip the 45 over, as this is the intended A-side. It features Al TNT Braggs on lead. We go to April of 1958. They're called the Five Masks on Jan Records. The tune is called Forever and a Day.
Kiss so heavily
April 58 release there. They're called The Five Masks. The Five Masks on the Jan label out of Dallas, Texas, Forever and a Day. Al TNT Braggs, he is the lead singer. He was previously the lead singer of a group called The Five Notes, recorded on the Chess label. I love their tune called Park Your Love. Also a member of the Five Stars that recorded on the Blues Boy Kingdom label in 1957. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show for a Saturday evening, and last week's Moon theme show, I played a song which was the debut single for this singer out of Asbury Park, New Jersey, Mr. Lenny Welch. The side I played was called Rocket to the Moon. So let's flip the 45 over, as this was the intended A-side. The first of two he recorded on the Decca label. We go back to June of 58. Mr. Lenny Welch on Decca, and his tune called My One Sincere.
Is it your kiss, mine, that sends echoes ringing in my ear? Or is it your voice I hear? You're my one sincere. Just you and I alone, my dear. You're my one sincere. Could it be your love or thoughts of you I'm thinking of, guided by the master above? Surely
Mr. Lenny Welch there. That is his debut single. That's the A-side of the 45, the first of two on the Decca label. Lenny Welch with My One Sincere from June of 1958. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening, spinning original vinyl 45s. We count down the music chronologically. Here we are in the year 1958. Let's head back to Los Angeles, California. Now, last week I played a 45 on the Jade label. It was called Mr. Moonglow. Very rare 45 out of Los Angeles by a group called the El Rays. Now, the lead singer, his name is Horace Wooten. He also sang with a group called the Chimes on the Specialty label. But let's flip over this rare 45 on the Jade label. Give a listen to the B-side of the 45 from 58. These are the El Rays on Jade. It's called Need Your Love.
Hey, baby.
Need you, need you, need you. I need your loving. Need you, need you, need you. I need your loving. Need you, need you, need you. I need your loving.
Baby. baby, love me all night long. Baby, 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 I need you nightly. Baby, 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 to hold me tightly. Baby, 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 oh, I need your love. And the hope will never part. Without your love, I can't go on. Please, pretty baby, love me all night long. Baby, 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 I need you nightly. Baby, 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 to hold me tightly. Baby, 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 oh, I need your love. Oh, I need your love. Oh, I need your love.
I'm telling you, you know what that record sounds like? That record reminds me of Bobby Lester and the Moonlighters, Shoo Dooby Doo. Listen to the lyrics. Looks like they kind of recycled that song by them, but that's 1958. Those are the El Rays on the Jade label. Horace Wooten, he's the lead singer. The tune is called Need Your Love. Now, Horace Wooten would also record with a group called the Tangents on the Fresh label back in 1960. John G here for a Saturday evening as we continue. Let's move into 1959 as we stay out on the West Coast. A few weeks ago, played a 45 on the Janlar label as done by Sunny Night. And a Sunny Night, of course, his signature song was a tune called Confidential, but it was the side that I played on Janlar. The A-side was called Dear Debbie. That was the intended A-side. Let's flip it over, give a listen to the B-side. It's a song that he wrote. This one from July 1959, Janlar Records. His name is Sunny Night. Let's send this one out to Linda Gaeta, tuned into the Vinyl Treasure Show. See if she likes this tune by Sunny Night. It's called Touch of Love.
I traveled far and I traveled wide before I learned to believe that the touch of love is the sweetest touch that any man can receive. I thought about the life I led and the heartaches it could bring. It was then I knew that the touch of love could bring me everything. The touch of love, the touch of love at last has come your way. And then, oh, I met you and my heart began to say that the touch of love, oh yes, the touch of love at last has come your way.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That's Sunny Night there, and a girl group in the background. July 1959, Touch of Love is the name of that one on the Janlar record label. Of course, his big hit from 1956. It was called Confidential on the Vita. You may have it on Vita. First came out on Vita, then came out on the Dot label. John G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. Now, last week on my Moon special theme show, I featured Chris Allen with the Marionettes, and there was some speculation that Chris Allen is really Phil Flowers, who gets writer credit on both sides of the 45 that came out on the Hollywood record label. So let's flip that 45 over. What did I say what the song was? Yes, I played last week. It was called Thank You, Mr. Moon. But this is the B-side of the 45. I don't think the group gets mentioned on this one. It doesn't say the Marionettes on this side. Just says Chris Allen. It's from June of 59. Chris Allen on Hollywood. It's called Saxophone Pete.
Have you heard about Saxophone Pete? He's the guy that you really ought to meet. He blows his horn upside down, honking and talking out a crazy sound. Steals the show everywhere he goes when he blows his saxophone. The drummer takes it off with the beat. Everybody's holding on to their seats. The guitar comes in with a cool bass, and everybody's rocking all over the place. The crowd goes wild, you ought to hear them shout when Saxophone Pete comes walking out. Listen to what I'm talking about. Round up the game, come on down. Just got the news that Pete's in town.
I think that is Phil Flowers. He's the singer there, but he goes under the name Chris Allen. A cool saxophone there. It's called Saxophone Pete. It's the B-side of the 45. From June 1959, it's on the Hollywood record label, one of the thousands of labels that your host, Johnny G, collects. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show for the Moon special, last week I was considering playing 45s on the Moon label, but I did not. That would have given me way too many records, but I'm going to feature one now, and this one probably should have been played by this group from White Plains, New York, really, which is real close to Johnny G. It's like 15 minutes away from where I live now. This group initially recorded as The Questions. They got together while attending White Plains High School in 1958. Their release came out on the first label in 1958, but after a couple of personnel changes, the group changed their name to the Del Rays. The result was one release that came out on Donald Shaw's Moon label out of Newark, New Jersey. Hey, I work in Newark. Yes, I do. Anyway, let's give it a spin. October 1959, the Del Rays on Moon. It's called Have a Heart.
All my trust is
not through. You know I love you right from the start. Won't you come back and give me your heart? Tell me, baby, tell me that we're not through. Why did you leave me? Why did we drift apart? Please return to me. Let's make a new start. Why did you go away? Oh, what can I say? But please have pity on me. Oh, have a heart. Say that we're not through. Have a heart. Oh, what can I do? Tell me, baby, tell me that we're not through.
October 1959 release there for a group called the Del Reys. The Del Reys, it's on the Moon label. Moon label out of Newark, New Jersey, owned by Donald Shaw. Have a Heart is the name of the tune. I Need a 45 on the Moon label by the Endorsers. Yes, I do. The offer for Dave the Rave, I'll trade that rare garage record if he finds me a copy of that Endorsers on Moon. John G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here, and I pulled this 45 out from my Moon special, but really didn't get a chance to play it as we go back to Sid Nathan's King label. This group is called the Moon Rays, and the lead singer, his name is Lee Williams. This one is by Lee Williams and the Moon Rays. It's from October 1960. This is actually a great record to play for a Valentine's Day special, which is coming up this Wednesday. So guys, have your roses and candy and hearts ready for your significant others. I still have to work on mine, although we are going to see an evening dinner theater. It's something about the British music and dinner, and Barbara said she'd like to go, so we're going to be there Wednesday night. But anyway, I probably should send this one out to her, so we'll send this one out to all the gals on Valentine's Day. It's by Lee Williams and the Moon Rays on the King label from October 1960. It's called I'm So in Love. Sounds of 1960 here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Early 60s. Lee Williams and the Moonrays is the name of the group. It's on the King label, Sid Nathan's King record label. I'm So in Love is the name of the tune. I think Lee Williams will go on to have some soulful recordings on the King or the Federal label, and this is a completely different artist than the one named Lee Shot Williams. That's somebody completely different. There's another Lee Williams who was the lead singer of the Spiritual QC's, a gospel group, but this Lee Williams on King is someone not related to those two guys. Johnny G here. We are in Vinyl Treasure Overtime, and we'll play a few more 45s here. Now, last week's opening instrumental for the Moon theme special was called Moon Flight. Came out on Dick Huggy Boy Hug's Caddy label, and that group was really known as Chuck Daniels and the Downbeats, but they were listed on the 45 as the Lonely Guys, which was the B-side of this 45. But we're going to give a listen to the A-side, which is really the Lonely Guys, and it's the sound of East L.A., which I do like. I like this East L.A. sound, and it's a cover song, first recorded by Fred Astaire back in 1936 on the Brunswick label, but you heard probably the most well-known cover for group harmony collectors. Earlier in the show, I featured a rendition by the Jaguars on the Ardell label from 56. So let's move up 4 years to 1960 to this version by the Lonely Guys. It's on Caddy Records, the Lonely Guys, with their rendition of the tune, The Way You Look Tonight.
Someday, when I'm feeling low and the world is cold, I will feel the glow just thinking of and the way you look tonight. The way you look tonight. You're lovely with your smile so warm and your cheeks so soft. There is nothing for me but to rock and the way you look tonight. With these words your tenderness grows, tearing my fears apart.
Cover tunes here in the Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Those are the Lonely Guys. The Lonely Guys 1960 release on Dick Huggy Boy Hug's Caddy record label out of Los Angeles, California. Their rendition of the tune, The Way You Look Tonight. As we move on here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, featured the B-side of this 45 on last week's Moon Special. The group is out of Ithaca, New York. They're an interracial group called Little Bernie and the Blazers. I played the B-side of the 45, their rendition of the tune By the Light of the Silvery Moon. But let's give a spin to the intended A-side B-side. It's Little Bernie and the Blazers. Now, Little Bernie is really Bernard Milton, and he wrote this song as we go to Jerry Blaine's Josie label. This one from July 1960. Little Bernie and the Blazers. The song is called My Love, I Have You.
A love that is strong, a love that is true. Oh, my love, I have you. A love that will last to the end. Oh, my love, I have you. When we are walking, baby, we start talking, baby, about our love. It will never, 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 never die. So come on, mama, you know you wanna. A love that's true and gonna be to you. Oh, my love, I have you. When we are walking, baby, we start talking, baby, about our love. It will never, ever, never, never die. So come on, mama, you know you wanna. A love that's true and gonna be to you. Oh, my love, I have you.
July 1960 release there for Little Bernie and the Blazers. It's on Jerry Blaine's Josie record label. The tune is called My Love, I Have You. As JohnnyG's getting hoarse today. I don't know if it's maybe the dampness or whatnot, so I apologize for that. No cough drops up here. Wish I had one. But anyway, let's continue with a little bit more here of Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Now, my closer last week was the biggest hit of all Moon songs, I guess we can consider it, as done by this great group out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They were known as the Marcells. I played their version of Blue Moon, a national #1 record, both on Billboard and Cashbox. But let's give a listen to the B-side of the 45, which is very good also. Nice harmonies always by this great group out of Pittsburgh. It's their first of 13 they recorded on the Colpix record label. These are the Marcells. Cornelius Harp on lead. We go back to February 1961. The Marcells on Colpix and a B-side to Blue Moon. It's called Goodbye to Love.
Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye to love. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye to love. Goodbye to love. Goodbye to kissing. Love is a school that taught this fool you were true. Goodbye to love. Something is missing. Each time you're near, you make it clear that we're through. You're cold on the telephone. You're busy each night. The lips that were once mine no longer invite. Goodbye to love. I feel like crying. Someday there'll be someone for me. Somewhere is true.
Anytime you're near, you make it clear that we're through. You're call on the telephone, you're busy each night. The lips that were once mine, no longer in mine. Goodbye to love, I feel like crying. Someday there'll be someone for me, somewhere it's true. But I love only you, but I love only you. Goodbye to love, goodbye to love.
February 1961 there. That is the B-side to Blue Moon. Great harmonies there by the Marcells. Cornelius Harp on lead. Goodbye to Love is the name of the tune, the first of 13 releases on the Cold Picks record label. JohnnyG's here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Let's continue for a little bit more here. We stay in 1961 for this group out of Philadelphia. Actually, initially they provided background vocals to artists that were signed to Bob Marcucci's Chancellor label, the likes of Fabian, Sonny Vito, and Maureen Gray. Then they eventually had their own issues or releases on the Chancellor label, 7 in all on Chancellor. This is their second. It features Joseph Jr. Pirolo on lead. This one from January 61. They're called The Fabulous Four. It's on Chancellor Records. This is the A-side. It's called Precious Moments.
Share these moments with you. Even walking side by side. Feelings that I cannot hide. Every night, shout it. I do. Shout it. Oh, precious moment. Just to know that you are mine again, so divine again, here all the time again.
That's the second of 7 for the Fabulous Four on the Chancellor label. January 1961, the Fabulous Four, Joseph Jr. Pirolo on lead. Precious Moments is the name of the tune. Now, Joseph, he was a member of the 4Js, earlier releases on the United Artists and Herald record labels. I even think he was a member of the 4 Naturals on the Red Top label. JohnnyG's here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Let's continue with a little bit more here, as here is another 45 I pulled out to play on the Moon Special last week, but just couldn't fit it in. This is another group called the Moon Rays, who in reality are also recorded as the Sharps. The same Sharps that included Carl White and Al Frazier. Now the lead singer here his name is Ray Frazier. Now this is on the Dynamite label. It's from 1961. It's Ray Frazier and the Moonrays. The song is called Heaven's Not So Far.
Hold me in your arms and never let me go. Heaven's not so far. Just say you're surrendered, dear. Hold me in your arms and never let me go. Tell me that your love belongs to only me. Take me in your arms and never let me go. If you should say goodbye to me, oh, you leave me in the dark. I love you so sincerely. Say that we'll never, 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 never part. Tell me that your love belongs to only me. Take me in your arms and never let me go.
Oh, how I hate styrene 45s. That's on the Dynamite label. That is Styrene. I hate styrene, I do. Anyway, that's a great tune from 1961. Ray Frazier and the Moonrays. Says Heaven's Not So Far. I'd have to listen to the lyrics. That wasn't Never Let You Go. I don't think it was. Anyway, it was called Heaven's Not So Far on the Dynamite label. Now, Ray Frazier was from Texas, but relocated to California, where he met Charles Wright, who was a member of the Twilighters on the Charlie and on the Ebb labels, and they backed him up on his debut 45 from 1959 on the Playback label. And Frazier also recorded on combo with a group, the Blenders, in 1960, and those Blenders were also the Sharps. Johnny G here in Vinyltreasure Overtime. 3 more 45s to go before we sign off here. Featured this rare white group out of Cincinnati, Ohio on Ted Mullen's Wonder label about a couple of weeks ago. They were called the Notations. I played the intended A-side of their 45. It was called What a Night for Love. Now the B-side is pretty nice too, and it is from 1961, and both sides of the 45 here were written by the label owner and Rusty York, who had releases on his own. But anyway, let's give it a spin from 61. These are the Notations on the Wonder label. Their tune is called Chapel Bells.
Boom, 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 boom.
That's a rare white group sound there by the Notations from 1961. It's on the Wonder label. It's like a deluxe custom press. You can contract with Deluxe and they'll press up like, maybe it's 100 copies they need. I don't know. Or maybe 50. No, I think it's 100. Anyway, that's the Notations there with their tune called Chapel Bells. 2 more 45s to go, excuse me, before Johnny G signs off here. Here's an ultra rare 45, actually 2 rare 45s in a row. This is on the this label is out of Alamogordo, New Mexico. It's on Calvin Bowles' Yucca label, a very rare 45. I think this is the rarest 45 on the label, on its original, if you have the original. And the group was discovered by Dick Liberatore, who was Alan Freed's son-in-law, and I think he's now known as Mark Vegas. And I know this because he personally told me when I researched this record, I found out that somehow he was associated with this, and he emailed me and he told me it was his record, and he discovered this group. They won a talent contest at the Air Force Base in New Mexico, and he put this out, or he produced it, and it's a very rare 45. I think it came out, somebody bootlegged it. It's on, you can get it really on the thin press, but the originals for you collectors are really, really thick. Really thick. It's got a female lead. Her name is Jenny Johnson. She's on lead. It's a great 2-sided record too. This is the intended A side. I'm going to send this one out to Geronimo because he never saw another record on this Yucca label. So Geronimo, if you have this one, it's an expensive one if it's an original. It's got to be really thick. It's from February 62. They're called the Ravons. It's on Yucca Records. The song is called Everybody's Laughing at Me.
Now
45s as we close down the Vinyl Treasure Show. That one there. February 1962, they're called the Ravons. Jenny Johnson on lead for that one on the Yucca label out of Alamogordo, New Mexico. Their tune called Everybody's Laughing at Me. Remember, Jerry Diaz sold me that 45 long time ago. That's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to original vinyl 45s out of my collection. You want to get in touch with Johnny G, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. Been recording this one on the Ustream broadcaster. Going to get it up on my YouTube site. For you collectors out there that like to look at the labels, I know you do during the week, get lots of people to go and check out the website. You can also go to vinyltreasures.net where you can download the shows there on your computer. You can also stream them if you like. But either way, you can also send me an email. I think I mentioned that, vinyltreasures@aol.com. Working on requests, always have. It's tough sometimes with the no humidity basement, although Barbara will be here tomorrow afternoon to help me file some records. Yes, she will. And we're going to close the show tonight. From May of 1963 as we go out to Midland, Texas for this group. It's on Steve Drummond's Token label. Now, this song charted number 26 on KOSA in Odessa, Texas, and it's the debut single for this group, Mike Malone and the Misters, and it's written by the lead singer. His name is Mike Malone, and it's appropriate because I wonder if it's doing this now. The song is called It Must Be Raining. So the closer tonight's from May of 63, Mike Malone and the Misters on Token Records. The song is called It Must Be Raining. That's going to do it, folks, for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. Please tune in tomorrow evening for my buddy Dave the Raven, his Relics and Rarities show from 9 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies. Got to thank Charlene for all your help and all the research. Charlene, really appreciate it. That's going to do it, folks. Want everybody to have a safe and happy week. I'll see you here next Saturday starting at 10 p.m. here on Top Shelf Oldies. Just want to say, everybody, so long.
It must be red, teardrop in my eye. It must be red, or why should I cry? Those must be red. Yes, I know the sky is blue, but it is red. Why should I cry for you just because you left me? You said we were through. You stole my heart and you tore it apart. You took my love and then said goodbye. Now you think that I should cry, but it's raining. And those hot teardrops that you see, it is raining. I'm as happy as I can be. Can't you hear it going? Drop, drop, just because you left me there, you said we were through.